So you see, third round match between Dots and Fitz, with a 25-second difference between their personal bests, and a second round match between Louie and Mike, with around a 4.5 minute difference between their personal bests. As we see, the race is now underway. A little bit desynced, as tends to happen, but that will get sorted out very briefly by the technical folks. Shout out to them. They make this possible to commentate. My job is the easy job. So thank you to everybody who has been working on the technical side to make this tournament happen. This is the Super Mario World No Star World Winter Tournament. As we see the runners now in Yoshi's Island 2. See if we see any breaking news in this level. It seems unlikely, but you never know. Those race jitters, they can always get to you. But it looks like now we got 360s across the board. We move now into Yoshi's Island 3. First couple of levels, very nice. Start to the game, not too many difficult tricks. I say that as Louie dies to the box jump, actually. Very unfortunate for him. It will cost him about maybe 10 seconds or so. As I said, those race jitters for our first seed here, you know, making themselves heard. But if you are going to die, that's a good place to take that death. Do not lose too much time for it. If anybody has any questions about the run, feel free to put them in the chat. I will be looking at it intermittently as I try to keep up with these 4 races. If I'm able to answer them, I will, and attempt to find the answer if I'm not. Once again, this is no Star World, so complete the game, defeat Bowser as fast as possible without the use of Star World. That's the shortcut you see runners use in 11 Exit to defeat the game much faster. This time we have to go around for our viewing pleasure. Don't believe we saw any shell jumps. It is wise to stomp the shell at the beginning of Yoshi's Island 4. It does reduce some lag. A little bit. Those are a couple of frames you can save. This is a tip brought to you by Ben. So feel free to stomp that shell. Save those couple of frames. It's just a couple, but those are your frames. Don't just give them away for free. Bit of a freeze, I think, there from Mike. Not sure what happened there. So you will see the runners grab a fire flower in this level, which they will hope to keep with them for the majority of the rest of the run. If they are so able, it does save about 8 or so seconds on average on the boss kills. You can hit them with 2 fireballs and 1 jump, rather than 3 jumps and having to wait in between. We do see some Iggy kills. 241s for Dots and Fitz, a 240 for Mike. And we'll see Louie attempting that shortly. Clean from him, a 241. Reminder to everybody that this is a double race. We have a race between Mike and Louie on the top of your screen and between Fitz and Dots on the bottom of your screen. So unlike the qualifiers, the actual winner of the races do matter. And this is a set of two-person races. And they are best of 3, as you can see, denoted by the stars next to the runners' names. You see the runners grabbing the cape now. They will use this to fly over a number of levels as well as to do some very fancy tricks later on. Fitz, I believe, got stuck up a little bit on that cape grab. Not too sure what happened with that. We'll slow him down a little bit. Optimal time in this level is a 362. 361 for Dots. 59s for Mike and Fitz. Still very respectable time. Just a slight inaccuracy. Louie with 362. That is optimal flight speed, I believe, or at least very quickly. The flight speeds in this game are random. You can adjust them by pressing right on the controller. It will give you a new random value, I believe between 47 and 52. Might be 48 and 52. Have to get a fact check on that one. One of those two. And 52 is the fastest. See now Mario grabbing an object to swim much faster. Interesting little trick. Why it works, I do not know. But Mario swims much faster while holding something. Usual average time for these runs is about 34 minutes or so. I can run through the PBs of these 4 racers when I have a sec. As we see them now in the Donut Ghost House. First of a few ghost houses. This one not that dangerous. Not very likely that you will die to this one. So on the bottom of your screen, we have Dots and Fitz. Dots' PB is a 33.25. Fitz is a 33 flat. At the top, we have Mike with a 37.41 PB, and Louis with a 32.56. So Louis definitely a big favorite in the top race. Dots and Fitz. Very, very close, as you can see in the race, within a couple of screens of each other, actually. Mike sticking with them, Louis slightly farther behind. He seems to have not gotten flight either. That will cost him a little bit more time. But nothing too major. The loss of a power-up would certainly overcome the lead we have so far. So we see Louis maybe 5 or so seconds behind. Yep, almost exactly 5 seconds behind. Donut Plains, kind of a set of flyover levels. As I said earlier, a nice start. Intro to the game, once you get past Morton, and especially past Ludwig, the run is certainly much more difficult. So we see levels being completed and Morton's Castle being started. This is much more dangerous. Not really more dangerous necessarily, but definitely a harder skill check for the runners than Iggy's Castle was. Morton Fly, which you will be seeing Fitz and Dots achieving as they are within several frames of each other, actually. Right here. Much, much harder than it appears. Definitely a gate to players beginning of the game. As we see Dots not getting flight with the spring there. Does fail to fly a little bit. Fitz will open up a little bit of a lead. Off the back of that one, Louis and Mike both nail it. Mike loses the flight, actually, so Louis will reclaim the lead in that race, as we see Fitz using the 2 fireballs and 1 jump to defeat Morton. You see Louis on your screen doing the same right now. But no power-ups lost thus far. As you see Mike switch over to that fire flower. He will wait for the platform. And bounce right up. Bonk. And defeat Morton in his own turn. Did Fitz lose his flower? I don't think so. No, he did not. The runners do switch back to Cape after they defeat the bosses, as they pretty much only use those in the boss fights themselves. The Cape much more useful in the rest of the game. Runners have moved into Vanilla Dome. A little bit tricky to keep enough flight to get up toward this key. They all manage it. Not too trivial, but definitely not the easiest thing in the world, especially for a new runner. Louis losing a little bit of time. As we see now Mike failing the flight, he will have to reset his flight meter somehow. Which you can do in a number of ways. Not sure this is the most efficient of them. Louis now moving into Vanilla Dome 2. As, there we go. Vanilla Secret 2, rather. Not sure why I said Vanilla Dome. We're done with the dome. On to the secrets. In this one. Louis taking damage, losing both of his power-ups. Definitely in a sticky situation. Reclaims the Fire Flower. Unless it was just falling and I didn't see it. Anyway, he has the Fire Flower. And we'll grab a cape without too much trouble. Hopefully we'll be able to escape the level. Dot's moving into Vanilla Secret 3 to join Fitz, the Dolphin Flyover level. You do not want to get down there with those dolphins. It will not end well for you. Definitely a scary situation. They look so friendly, but I assure you, they aren't. Louis now almost exactly one stage ahead of Mike, and Fitz a little bit less than that, ahead of Dots, but definitely in a lead. He is the first one to reach Ludwig's castle. This is not Ludwig's castle. I'm out of it. But the first one to reach the fortress, Vanilla Fortress. As you see, Mario swimming very consistently without very much vertical change. If you hold down while swimming, Mario will not jump up on each pump. You can use this to have much more precise water swimming as you see him swimming over the fish. Mike now facing off with the dolphins, about a stage behind Louis, as we've said. And we will see the first appearance of Reznor, the fortress boss with some very weird hitboxes. His hitboxes are square, despite his model being remarkably not square. So you can take some weird hits to him, some weird deaths. Just generally not a very fun enemy to face. Also, the RNG of his fireballs can be pretty unforgiving. But the runners get past them thus far. Fitz and Dot's actually both ahead of Mike and Louis. Interestingly enough. As Reznor is defeated by Louis, Mike making his way through the fortress. Now, yes, this is a race between Mike and Louis on the top, and Fitz and Dots on the bottom. These are actually different rounds in the tournament. Mike and Louis a second round match, Fitz and Dots a third round match. So they are two completely separate best of threes, just broadcast at the same time as we see Mike taking damage, losing his power-ups in the fortress. Very unfortunate for him. Hopefully he's able to recover from that and at least defeat Reznor. Louis, Fitz, and Dots all now in Butterbridge 1, one of the longest stages in the game. This is about a 2-minute auto-scroller. Basically, the only objective is to collect as much swag as possible and not die. A death in Butterbridge, possibly the most tilting death in the run. Mike was able to escape the fortress with his life and move on to the autoscroller himself. Dot's messing around with the turn blocks. Not a whole lot to say in this level, honestly. Fitz the first one to get out of it alive. Dot's following shortly. As we see Fitz move into Butterbridge 2. Another flyover level right before Ludwig. And then after that, the run definitely heats up to a large degree. Ludwig's Castle kind of the middle point and the changing point in the difficulty in the run. Louis now completing Butterbridge 1. Dot's now flying over Butterbridge 2, as is Louis. Dot's and Louis actually quite close, although not in the same race. And we now have Fitz moving into Ludwig's Castle. 2 strats you can take in the second room of this castle, either the Cape strat or the Fireflower strat. We'll see which one he chooses. Fitz will be opting to keep his cape and fly through, and he nails it. He's making his way through this one. Dot's following swiftly behind, as Mike finishing up Butterbridge 1. Dots will be using the Fireflower strat. You can see that in the bottom right of your screen, as Fitz moving up the third room just as Louis enters the castle. All 3 players, besides Mike, in Ludwig's castle at the same time. Fitz will throw out those 2 fireballs to get the kill on Ludwig as Dots enters the third room. Louis enters the second room. He will be sticking with his cape, as did Fitz. Successful castle from Fitz and Dots, we expect. Double fireball. Louis flying through the third room now. Second room, I should say. As Mike flies over Butterbridge 2. Mario pondering his future outside the now ruined Ludwig's castle. Bit of an explosion turns it into a rocket ship. This could also be a nice time for a bit of a fun fact as we see Mike entering Ludwig's castle. All of the castles and bosses in this game are named after musicians. I've said this before. And I will say it again, one of my favorite facts about this game. I think it is extremely interesting as we now see the runners in Forest of Illusion 1. Where it is possible to achieve Yoshi Wings. See if we see the runners go for that. We'll explain it at that time. As we do see Fitz going for it. He is going to attempt to dupe the block up and to the left, and he will achieve Yoshi Wings by doing so and complete the level ahead of Dots. Dots opts away from the wings as Louis picks up his Yoshi. I cannot confirm on the Bowser. Seems unlikely Bowser is named after a musician. But the rest of the bosses are all named after musicians. As we see Louis fail the wings attempt, but he will have to fly to the end of the stage. Fitz also, and as well as Dots, doing the Forest of Illusion 2 clip. Failed to talk about it. I was too busy talking about musicians. As we see Dots get in the wall in the first try. That's a trick that can be failed 25% of the time for no reason, just based on RNG. Very unfortunate. But we see Fitz, I believe, getting in first try as well as Dots. So they're off to a very good time. Fitz completing the level. Louis, we will see now, setting up for it. And he gets in as well. First tries, I think, all across the board so far. Yes, Fitz off to a very, very nice run. So he will move into Forest of Illusion 3. Fitz opts away from Dirty Bubble. If you take off before that bubble, you save a couple frames, and the community has turned that into a meme of it saving anywhere between a couple extra seconds to several million years, I believe I have heard. Louis picking up 22 bonus stars, so you have to be careful. 100 bonus stars, and you do have to complete a bit of a bonus level. Really looking to avoid that one as Fitz finishes up the level. And now enters Roy's castle. We see him attempt Roy Fly. There's the dive, and he's back up, and he nails it. We'll see Dots attempting the same trick in a couple of seconds. Mike fails the first clip. It's fortunate. They will hit a second try here shortly. Dots now attempting Roy Fly. Mike fails the clip a second time. He will have to wait for a third attempt. Dots nails the Roy Fly as well. Fitz just finishing up the castle. He takes the dark screen at 20:08. See where Dots finishes that one up. Mike having a tough time with the clip, but he does get in. Well done, Louis, starting the fight right now. Dots collects his cape after defeating his enemy about 20 seconds behind Fitz. Still within range of death, or possibly even a power-up loss. Did not see what happened to Mike. He seems to have gotten kicked out of the wall. Not entirely sure what happened there. Louis finishing up Roy's castle. So Mike will be swimming his way through. This level, coincidentally, was one of the levels that I could not figure out how to finish, because I realized I did not know how to do the clip, and I never seen anybody do it normally, or quote-unquote normally. So that was an interesting experience, trying to get through this maze. But Mike is able to finish it up. Louis defeats the castles. They move into Chocolate Island 1. Followed shortly by the Choco Ghost House. We will see Fitz entering that as we speak. Definitely a spooky room. If you fly too high, you will run into a bar or something, an invisible wall above the screen in this level, and get pushed down to the middle. So you do have to stay pretty close to the top of the screen, and you will not get kicked down, and then dive to avoid your enemy. Fitz does just fine. Damage boosts up and through the door. Beautifully done. We'll see Dots flying out of the sky shortly, as Louis does enter the room. Dots through the door successfully. And Mike will move on into Roy's castle. So I'm practicing Roy Fly earlier. Hopefully it works out for him, as Dots finishes up the level. Mike's first attempt at Roy Fly. There's the dive, and he does dive a little bit too late and takes the death. He'll have to go back for a cape before trying that again. Chocolate Island 2 now for the runners, as Louis takes the door in the ghost house and completes that stage. Louis comfortably ahead of Mike. Should be a victory for him. Fitz and Dots still very close to each other. Within about half a minute. Certainly could be decided off of some random death or power-up loss. As I say that, Dots takes the death, loses both power-ups. He will have to resupply. Actually goes right back in. Collecting some coins on this one. Mike's second attempt at Roy Fly, and he does nail it, although he appeared to rush into some pixels of that, but we're going to take it, as he is able to get through Roy's castle. Bit of a slide now from Fitz. We were watching Dots the other day in one of his qualifier races, and I believe he slid all the way down, leading us to believe that may be the optimal strategy. Let's see, Mike will defeat Roy. Dots now moving in to, I believe, Valley of Bowser 1. But I feel like I'm lying. Whoa, we're back. And yes, I apologize for the caster curse. I doomed Dots to death immediately. As we see Fitz entering Wendy's castle here. Definitely a spooky castle. Even when done correctly, this castle looks extremely scary. Just viewing it. The Looks like you could die at any moment. But Fitz managing to do quite well. Fitz on a very good run so far in this race. Plays it a little bit safe there, but definitely can't blame him. He is ahead by a decent amount, I believe. I have not checked the actual time difference, but definitely about half a minute or more. Goes through the second room. Excellent flight. It's hung up barely at all. As Fitz will defeat Wendy here. Hopefully. Dodges the fireballs. And he will pick up the kill. The entire castle ahead of Dots. Dots just entering as Fitz is leaving. As we see Louie working his way through the castle as well. Mike just moving into Chocolate Ghost House. Pretty strong lead from Fitz, as well as Louie. Louie pretty much has this race, I would say, relatively wrapped up, but I don't want to count anything out. But he is holding on to a very large lead. Fitz with solid play will take the race, but as I discovered a minute ago, Caster Curse definitely is real. Fitz will move into the Sunken Ghost Ship. He will remove his cape, or his Fire Flower, I should say, for a second cape. Do not need the Fire Flower anymore. There are no more Fire Flower-able bosses. Can use that cape in case of an accident, or in order to get a faster time in this room with a bit of a damage boost. Mike's PB on his stream, on his splits, was a 37:41 earlier. I went to look because I could not find it on SRL. Speedrun.com, I should say. Fitz despawning that boo ring, and he will get through the Sunken Ghost Ship as Dots enters. So again, about a stage difference between Fitz and Dots. Dots and Louie actually quite close. Louie still with that Fire Flower intact. Orb. For Fitz. Everybody's favorite way to end the stage. Sunken Ghost Ship has been resunk, and Fitz will move now into Valley of Buzzard. Louie will see doing that aforementioned damage boost in order to progress slightly faster, and he will do a bit of lag cleanup along the way. That's why you see them killing as many enemies as they can. Reduce a little bit of lag will help them out later. We see Louie and Dots both falling at the same time as Fitz makes his way through Valley of Bowser 1. Definitely can be a tricky stage at times, but he seems to have nailed it. Orb for Louie. Dots just a little bit further to fall. Orb. I apologize for my lack of orb passion. I don't quite have a low enough tone to nail it, but I'll work on it in the future races. Mike's just entering Wendy's castle now. Interesting to see if we see Fitz go for a sandbar clip. Definitely does not need it to win, but you know, it would be cool. Would definitely be cool. So I hope he goes for it, just for our pleasure. But no, he does not. Plays it safe. Makes sense. We are in a tournament. We are here to win, not to please the people watching. Dots here featuring one of the interesting things about this game. If you take items into the goalposts, the goal tapes, they will sometimes turn into other items. So, for example, that turn block being turned into a second cape for himself, making sure he keeps himself safe for the remainder of the run. Value of Bowser 2 now entered 4 dots. Fits into the wall, and he does complete the level. Mike now into the Wendy fight. Louie goes for the clip, and he does die to it. That will cost him some time, but should not be anything. 2-2 major. We'll see if we see Dots go for it. And we do not. I do wonder a little bit if the runners are aware of where their opponents are at the moment, as we see Fitz now into Vob Fort. Definitely the toughest of the 2 remaining levels. Bowser's Castle itself, not actually that challenging, especially through the back door. But this fort, many things can go awry in. We do have another appearance of Reznor at the end, so anything can happen when you're facing Reznor. All kinds of a disaster can occur. But Fitz makes it into the fight, at least. At least all right. Reznor 1, 2 down, 3, and 4. Very successful for Fitz. This is an excellent run for him. Louie just finishing up by Bowser 2. As Dots moves into Vob Fort as well. Still that 1 stage behind. Should be an insurmountable lead, but you never know. Crazy could happen in the back door. Dark Room here from Fitz. Maybe arguably tougher than Bowser itself. He does get through it. Bit of a skate there, and he is into the Bowser fight. It should give him around a 33-25 based on his timer, if everything goes to plan here. Definitely a respectable time in a race. As we see Dots now enter the Reznor fight. Mike working his way through the Sunken Ghost Ship. And Reznor is defeated 4 dots. As we see Louie take a death in the Vob Fort. Fortunate for him, down to 7 lives. Gotta be careful, as he will go back in Sans power up. But he should definitely be okay. No cape strat, very cool. I swear little Mario looks like he runs faster than even Mario with a cape. Louie not really in danger of losing race, but the 2 deaths so far. Definitely a little bit troubling going forward. Hopefully he can straighten that out. It is the first race. Probably a little bit of a nerve situation going on. So we see Fitz getting that ball skip against Bowser. A couple more hits to go for him. Mike in Value of Bowser 1. Only 1 cape, but he should be okay. He can grab a second one at the end if he makes it. Fitz with 1 phase to go. There's the 1 hit. And 5 bounces later. He's up. And there's the hit. Fitz with the victory over Dots in the first of this best of 3. First race of the best of 3. GG to Fitz. Louie and Dots working their way through the Bowser fight as well. Mike just entering Valley of Bowser 2. Still pretty close. Definitely a competitive race, at least for most of it. Mike will reclaim a cape and continue here. There's the throw for Dots. We'll be finishing up here shortly. Louie still, I believe, on phase 2 of his fight. There's the last hit for Dots, and he will finish up with a 34-19 by his clock. Still a very, very respectable time, but Fitz has won that first race, so we will see the second of those kicking off in a little bit after a short break. Louis now just phase 3 left to go. There's the throw and the first hit. Can hit. Has lost his cape, but doesn't seem to matter too much. The Bowser fight relatively trivial even without a cape. There's the throw and the hit. And Louis will wrap up the first race as the victor. Congratulations to him. GG. To Mike. A couple of stages behind. But he will definitely finish up here. And look forward to the second race. Reminder that these are best of 3s, and they are between Fitz and Dots, and then again between Mike and Louis. So these are 2 races going on at the same time here. Happened to be scheduled at the same time. So if Dots wins the next race, we will see a third one, and if Mike wins the next race against Louis, we will see a third race. I'll also remind you that you can type !bets in the chat for some information on how to bet on these races. If you're outside of, I believe, actually, if you're in Europe, let me check that real quick. Yes, viewers outside the United States can sign up and get a free €20 bet. If there are 100 signups, an additional $200 will be donated to the prize pool. Mike's PB is a 37.41. So feel free to check that out if you're interested. Also, !SMW. You can find the tournament bracket, the schedule, the official Discord, where you can chat with people about the tournament. You can also make your predictions over at the challenge page. The stars represent that they have won 1 race out of the best of 3. And Louis is up 1-0 on Mike, and Fitz is up 1-0 on Dots. I do apologize for the slightly confusing interface. The bottom 2 racers are facing off, and the top 2 racers are facing off. Yep, we just happened to have 2 of them at once. They were scheduled this way. So we're bringing them both to you at the same time. Just kind of to recap what the races are right now as we have a little bit of downtime. Dots and Fitz on the bottom of your screen. This is a 3rd round match. Dots is the 7th seed in the tournament. Fitz is the 10th seed. On the top of your screen, we have Louis versus Mike. This is a 2nd round race. Louis the 1st seed, Mike the 32nd seed. Dots and Fitz with a 33.25 and a 33 flat, respectively. Louis and Mike with a 32.56 and a 37.41 personal best times, respectively, as well. So, Louis, a huge favorite, the number 1 seed in the tournament, as I said, over Mike. Dots and Fitz, much closer to each other. So, definitely could see a 3rd race between them. So we see Mike now finishing up the buzzer fight in phase 2. Gets hit, but he has that mushroom available. So we see the other 3 runners getting a bit of practice in before their next races. And there's the last hit for Mike. 39.40 for him. GG's. To him. We will see that next race getting set up, I believe, shortly. No official word on that as of yet. Yep, definitely keeping it under that 40-minute mark. Still far better than I could do, so definitely appreciate the skill of all of these runners. I believe you can type !R to find links to all of their streams. I might be making that up, but I'm pretty sure it's true. Louis and Fitz, you can see practicing the sandbar, so definitely they will be going for that trick if needed. I would imagine that Fitz was aware that he was ahead of Dots. And thus did not attempt the clip. I can see the next race room has been opened. We'll see when that race ends. I'm going to step aside very briefly here to refill my beverage, and I'll be back for the second race in these best of threes. Stay tuned. And I'm back, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. I've received word that the next race will begin extremely shortly as the racers are readying up. That is true. Fitz's feet is jittering a little bit. I do not know about that. Hopefully that gets resolved. But as I said, we are about ready to get into this next race. Possibly the last race, possibly not. We'll see if Mike or Dots is able to even the score out. Louis now back on the title screen. Nintendo presenting to all of us Super Mario World from 1990. No question at Silver Star. Worked out for him in the first race. He's looking for the 2-0. Good luck to all the runners. And we are off. Pretty synced start, actually. We see 2 runners jump. Mike, actually, well, 3 runners jump. Mike staying in the air, though. Louis and Dots both landing with look to the left. Very important to check out the first level celebrations. Very important. As we send back in Yoshi's Island 2. Maybe we'll see a nice 361. Seems kind of unlikely, but you never know. Hopefully Louis can combat the evil box jump. We see 360s across the board, as expected. All the runners within frames of each other. All eyes on Louis now for this box jump. I'm sure he's feeling the pressure as well, but he doesn't. Box jumps all the way across for our runners. Strats do vary a little bit in this level. Very important to stay on those moving to the right platforms as long as you can, as they do move right, as I just spoiled. So you can save a couple of frames that way. Mike taking a little bit of a hit from that wall, so he will lose a game second. Obviously, nothing major. We will see how the shell jumps go. A reminder to stop the shell if you're not going to attempt. Will reduce a little bit of lag. So we see 3 shell jump attempts and 3 failures. Unfortunate. But a good attempt nonetheless. Fitz, Dots, and Louis all synced up still. Obviously, only through 3 stages so far. Nothing unusual about that. Sorry about that, we do see the runners now in Iggy's Castle. To our most welcome caster warrior. Welcome, I hope you enjoyed the show. These races are absolutely fantastic so far, and look forward to seeing the progression of the tournament. If you would like to learn more about the tournament, feel free to type !SMW into the chat. Apologies once again, everybody. A little bit distracted. All the runners have completed Iggy's Castle with the Fire Flower. And they will pick up the capes. That will carry them through most of the rest of the game. Smooth cape grabs all across the board. We'll see how the flight speeds even out. Hard to tell, especially across 4 streams at once, how they are, but we will see. We have 62s, actually across the board, except for Mike, who does take a bit of a fall. He'll have to reclaim his PSP to get back up to that key with a 54. He does manage it. Louis and Dots seemingly tied to the frame here. Fitz slightly ahead. Apparently that's the way it is on his TV, the shakiness, so Nothing that can be done about that, apparently. He says once you look at it long enough, you don't see it anymore, so... And we are now joined by Carrick. Welcome to the commentary desk, sir. He is muted, but Carrick will be here shortly. I assure you. So we will now be joined by Carrick, who will be joining me.
Hey, how's it going, Carl?
There we go. The unmute has come through. I'm doing well. How are you?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Chat, can you hear him? We will get confirmation on that, but I can hear you perfectly well. I expect the chat can as well. Runners now moving through the ghost house. Yep, we're good, Carrick. You are on. Silver Star, thank you so much. And we have some in-sync flight between Fitz and Dots here. Mike slightly behind after that mishap in Donut Plains 1. We seem to have lost Carrick again.
Okay, I think I'm here now, Carl. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. The chat can hear you. I can hear you. I think.
All right, great. Sorry about my technical difficulties. I am here now with Carl, though.
You've arrived just in time for the interesting part. Kind of.
I'm sure this whole race is interesting, especially the bottom one between Fitz and Dots. This is going to be a really good one to be watching.
We did. They were within a stage for the entire first race. I don't know if you were able to catch any of it.
No, I wasn't able to catch the first one. I just sat down. I can only imagine how the first one went.
We did. They were actually quite close, and then I caster cursed Dots into dying, and then Fitz was able to win. I think by about 58 seconds in the end. But it was close throughout the first like 30 or so stages, so definitely a great race.
58 seconds is definitely a real advantage, but can be taken back at any point before Chocolate Island or so.
Oh yeah.
So it must have been a good run on both Dots and Fitz.
Certainly, I think it was. We had like a 33-26 and a 34-20 or something.
Oh
so.
Goodness, really good runs then. I see them going through Morton now.
Fitz
almost
died. My goodness.
Oh my god. Fitz really scaring us for a second there.
We'll chalk that one up as a swag strat.
You might as well.
Yeah, clearly.
That was incredible. He didn't get crushed through the walls, losing his flower I think he had at the time. That would have been a very bad place.
Mike almost gets blocked down into the spikes as well, but he does make it into.
Mike's going to be finishing up with them shortly, exiting Morton's Castle. They're all going to be going into Vanilla Dome shortly.
Louie and Dots kicking the castle in unison. Really important. Do you have to question the workmanship of these castles? They're kicked down, they're broomed down, some of them are launched into space.
You know, they were built to code, but Dinosaur Land is very different than where we live.
I mean, we see Mike just stomping on that castle and it goes away.
Every one of them equipped with a white flag.
It's as if they knew their fate.
Oh, all three runners getting up. That's a really scary level because you really have to use all of your vertical height with that cape. This vanilla secret that they're going into, though, looks really familiar because it's very similar to Morton's Castle. There's not a lot of horizontal platforms. They have to use all the P speed they get. Fitz having a little bit of trouble there.
And he does manage to get up.
As long as you get through that choke point with a cape, you're golden. There shouldn't be too much standing changes between Louis, Dots, and Fitz in the next couple levels. They have a few flyover levels they need to get through, working their way to the fortress. Mike is right behind them, keeping it close.
Absolutely.
Good part on Mike right there. He noticed that that shell was just about to come back to life. He didn't actually stun that shell going through the choke point. So noticing that shell was about to come back to life, he did a good job throwing it away. It was about to cost him his cape.
We saw actually Mike ahead of Louis for a decent portion. Louis died to the box jump in Yoshi's Island 3.
You are kidding me.
Nope.
Yoshi's Island 3 should be banned from this game. We have seen too many deaths in such an Easy World 1 level.
I was like, yeah, I need to see if the box jump takes anybody out, and then he dies immediately.
That just goes to show anyone who's interested in running this game, this category, this anything. Louis is the #1 seed in this tournament, one of the best players we have ever seen touch this game, and you will still die to the 2nd level in the game.
To that stupid box jump.
Absolutely. If you guys want to get into this, you guys can use that that code name SMW, and that's going to give you all the information to the bracket, the schedule, the Discord, so you can follow your favorite runners. Hopefully it'll hype you up enough to run this as well.
I also just linked the !R. You can go follow the runners that are currently in race.
You know what? This is a great time to do it. During these flyover stages, Dots is entering the fortress, as well as the other two. This is a good time to go follow these runners. They will still be in this fortress when you come back. Don't worry.
And even if they have moved on, they'll be in Butterbridge 1, so really not missing anything.
I do want to see how these Thwomp despawns go. There's a pipe at the end of this room that you see 3 of the runners in. Mike going into now. When they exit this pipe, they're going to spin their cape at a precise moment. They're hoping to despawn a Thwomp that's on the right edge of the screen. You see Dots going for it. There's no Thwomp there. He was able to just swim straight through. Whereas Louis loses a cape to the Thwomp, he should have despawned. Fitz did not get the despawn as well, but he kept his cape.
Louis, demonstrating your points in real time here.
I think he was just trying to help me out. Because he's also going to show you how little it really matters, because he can pick up a cape next level. He just has to play BB1 close to his chest, get that backup cape.
Definitely makes Butterbridge 1 a little bit more scary without that cape.
But, you know, is there any excitement that needs to be added to Butterbridge 1? I feel it is everyone's favorite level, the most exciting level.
Yes, action-packed. I mean, you got everything.
That's right. You guys paid for your full seat. You're only going to use the edge. We're all going to watch Butterbridge 1. Get your resident excitement out on chat, because I think this is the most exciting level.
It's got it all. It's got Koopas. It's got fireballs. It's got capes. It has...
Are the platforms going to move up? Are they going to move down? You know, who knows?
You can do like a science experiment in this level. I mean, there's just, the possibilities are endless in Butterbridge 1.
Now, while we do joke, I have to bring up the point we have seen an amount of deaths in this level that really shouldn't exist in a tournament. When you're in a tournament like this, lots of people like to run it low and slow, but when it comes to Butterbridge 1, people get bored, and as I always say, when you get bored, you get complacent. When you get complacent, you die.
Absolutely true.
We've seen an absurd amount of deaths in this level that you would normally never see. I don't see any shells in people's hands, so I guess we're not going to see any block dupe swag, which is unfortunate. Louis is going to be able to pick up a cape here, which is good. It's going to cost him nothing, really.
Definitely an excellent place to re-grab that cape if you did not manage to lose it. If you did lose it in that form.
Yeah, if he came into this level small, he would have to rely on a block dupe to get his cape going. Fortunately, no one was going into this level small. That really helps. Dots is going to be the first to exit this level, right behind Fitz, or right in front of Fitz and Louis. Mike's going to be a little bit behind them. They have one more flyover level before Ludwig's Castle, where I feel this run really picks up.
Definitely. We see 19 bonus stars from Louis. Collected 22 of them in the previous race, so definitely
19.
Definitely taking the bonus star.
Can he hit the mythical 42 though? Is the question.
Unlikely, maybe. We'll see. See if he continues going for it. You play the lottery and go up to 99.
Yeah, coming at a normal flight speed across tape, 14's a common goal, and you'll see lots of people hit 3 14s to get 42. Because that's just a random swag you hit in this run, because 42 is the answer to life, as the Hitchhiker's Galaxy will allow you to believe.
Absolutely. Also, very important to pack as much swag as possible into the race.
We've seen some great ones. I'm not sure who in chat here was able to see Seathorn's run last night, but that was an incredible run. I'm sure we're going to see equal runs from a lot of these runners here today.
Switching over to the Fireflower.
Yeah, this room too is a really good one. You get to see Dots do flower while Fitz and Louie are doing the cape strats.
Ooh, Louie takes the death into the fire, losing the flight shortly before it got over the tomato soup.
Louie is showing why lots of people switch to fire flower. You're going to go under those potaboos the whole time, whereas a cape strat, you want to fly under the potaboos. But if you get a bad flight speed like Louie did, you're going to hit one of them, and it's going to ruin everything. It's a small chance you hit that kind of flight speed. Unfortunately, Louie did. He's going to have to go through room 2 again small. He's going to switch over to flower in room 3. I guarantee it. Mike also comfortable using flower strats. He doesn't want to go for any cape.
Much less exciting over on the Fitz and Dots side. Both of them managed to get through unharmed and send the castle off into outer space.
All right, good room 3 from Louie, getting through there with the fire flower. He's not getting any weird jumps through room 2 this time. He's going to meet the other 2 in the cutscenes shortly. Now, these guys are going into Forest of Illusion. Hopefully, did we see any wings attempts last race? I apologize not being here.
We saw 1 failed wings and 1 successful wings.
Oh, I hope we see more.
I think Fitz nailed the wings, and I think Dots failed the dupe. And spawned the beetle.
Yeah, this Fitz and Dots race are going to keep it super close. Another thing to make it clear again to these viewers is we have 2 races going on right now. This is Mike versus Louie and Fitz versus Dots. These are 2 1v1 races. Fitz is going for the attempt here.
See if
he needs to grab the shell while it's moving, dupe to the left. He's going to get the Yoshi wings that you see by duping to the left of a pea balloon. It's going to get him out a little quicker than if he naturally did it. It's going to tie him right up with Dots.
Also,
Great move from Fitz.
We have a bit of a correction from chat. Louie tried it and failed it, not Dots. Dots just went for the normal strat.
Understandable. Okay. That weirded me out that Dots didn't go for it this time, but that makes more sense.
There we go. Thank you, Silverstar.
If you watch on Dots' screen, I know Fitz just pulled it off. I can explain a little more with Dots. He's going to dismount Yoshi at a certain time. On this right side, just average with that ceiling. It's going to line him up perfectly to clip into that wall with Yoshi. And as you see Fitz, it's going to land him pretty good. He's going to gain that lead on Dots, getting that first try Yoshi clip.
We saw 3 first tries actually from Louie, Dot, and Fitz last race. So Fitz off just the machine here.
3 first tries. That's so incredible. Louie's going for his right now. He's going to dismount Yoshi near the top of the ceiling. It's going to line him up perfectly. He gets into the corner, but he gets kicked out. Even if you do everything right in this clip, there is a 25% chance of it failing and kicking you out, as we just saw happen to Louie. It's going to cost him some time.
And Mike in the wall.
Mike is going to take the lead.
As Louie does finally get in the wall, we have a bit of a bill over here as well.
This shows how important that Yoshi clip is in this run. If you miss that first try Yoshi clip and you have to go for a left side and fail that as well, you're losing massive amounts of time. Louie has to work hard to eat this up on Mike now.
Absolutely. The 25% is a remarkably high percent chance to just get kicked out of the wall. And if it happens a couple times, you can end up losing upwards of a minute with only a couple failed attempts.
Yeah, we've seen some big losses of people who especially make the clip and accidentally swim back into the level, in which case they need to do the level vanilla after having gone for Yoshi clip.
I believe that happened to Mike last race, actually. The clip.
That's unfortunate.
And then swam out. 22 bonus stars from Louis, only one away from Mark. He was definitely trying.
Fitz and Dots are going for the Roy fly now. Both of them are looking really clean with this. This is a really hard fly. I know a lot of experienced runners like Fitz and Dots take this kind of flight for granted because they're able to pull it off so great. Look at Fitz and Dots just pulling off that Roy's Castle so smoothly. They're going to be heading into Chocolate Island now.
As we see Louis and Mike also entering Roy Fly. Mike took a couple of deaths, I believe, to this last time. We'll see if he has refined his technique. And
Mike scared me. He took a dive a little sooner than you would want to in that level, and it's going to make him hit the last Potaboo and unfortunately take an expected death out of Roy's Castle. Louis took his dive bomb a little later, and it's going to help him out because he's going to get through that castle.
Mike will have to return for that cape before trying it again. As Louis defeats Roy.
All right, good pipe fly from Fitz. You're going to see Dots going for it now. They need to maintain P speed while going into this pipe. You see Dots going into now without losing any of that P speed. It will allow them to continue parachuting through the level with a maximum speed of 64 as opposed to a natural limit of 51. So it's giving him about 20% speed boost there, letting him finish with a 268. Dots is staying right on the heels of Fitz as he goes into the chocolate ghost house. This is where we've seen a lot of chokes go on. Because he needs to stay just above this fishing boo, but there are obstacles in the ceiling off screen. So he needs to stay under the obstacles while above the fishing boo, cape canceling at the last minute to get through that door. Good suicide door from Fitz before the pit eats his life. Dots is going in for his attempt right now as Fitz exits.
We also saw Mike take another death to Roy Fly. After actually successfully completed the fly, but then died.
That's upsetting. Fitz is going to be the first one to Chocolate Island too. The goal for this level is just to get to the end as quick as possible. This is the only level where rooms will differ depending on the timer. We're not going to see any difference between these runners here. They all know to just get to the end as quickly as possible.
You see Louis in the ghost house now. A little bit delayed by his previous...
Ooh, Louis did not get the flight he needs. He is sketching me out right now. He needs to keep it low to the ground because that fishing boo is going to stay on top of him. He is managing it beautifully, though. He went for that suicide door, but he did a smart move of jumping before that pit hit him.
And he will damage boost up and make it out. Despite a...
Mike taking another death in Roy, unfortunately.
Definitely not what he was hoping for.
And once again, these are two races we have going on. We have mikethepwnstar versus Louis up top, and fitz1889 versus Dotsarecool at the bottom. These are a best of 3 match. Louis and Fitz taking the first of 3 potential races going on. Both of them looking good currently, but Dots is staying right on the heel of Fitz. He is not going to make this easy for him.
Definitely not. Also, this is a 3rd round match between Dots and Fitz, and a 2nd round match between Louis and Mike. And Fitz possibly spoiling something in the chat once again. He's been popping in a couple of times.
Unfortunately, he should know about these spoilers. Fortunately, he is past room 2 when he said that. I'm sure he means he was losing the cape flight. So he lost about 20% of his speed through room 2 by clipping one of the platforms.
Nothing too major, definitely are more time losses ahead. as he enters Wendy's castle.
Now, Wendy's castle is my favorite because we're going to see the coolest cape tech here. You see Fitz diving through those saws without taking damage, going under this crusher here once again without taking damage. He needs to get up through these next saws, past the next 3 crushers. We might... Oh, another cape cancel. This is an incredible run from Fitz right now.
Absolutely. This castle definitely not one for the faint of heart. Even when done correctly, just looks so scary. It's flying through the second room.
Oh, it's silky smooth. This second room with Wendy, when you have a cape, is unbelievably fast. Dot's going through his attempt right now. For a lot of the viewers who don't know Super Mario World, when you're moving downwards in a parachute fashion with the cape, you're not going to take damage. Fitz unfortunately hitting Wendy before her hitbox was available, so when her hitbox was available, Mario was in the middle, so it made him lose his cape. He's going to grab his flower. Fortunately, he can grab a cape next level, but it's going to give Dots that little edge he needs. This is a really tight race still. We still have Valley of Bowser and the worst fortress on Earth to get through.
Absolutely. Definitely makes Bowser's Castle itself look not
it's
super
child's
scary.
play. Bowser's Castle is child's play compared to the fortress that guards it.
Absolutely. We actually saw Louis take a death in Bob Fort last run as well.
I'm not surprised. We've seen almost half the runners so far take deaths or lose cape there. But Fitz will be able to pick up a cape here at the beginning. He's going to switch back to the flower, I assume, though, because he's going to damage boost later in the level.
We will see Dot switch over to a second cape. Don't need the fire flower anymore for the remainder of the run. We'll also be able to do the same damage boost if required.
God, Dots is so hot on Fitz's heels right now. And I have to say, like, a lot of this run comes down to Valley of Bowser. Fitz taking a weird damage boost. Maybe he thought that that ghost didn't have a hitbox. Unfortunately, it did. It's going to put him out of line for his despawn. It's going to put him out of line for his damage boost. Fitz is going to have to take this slow. Dots might be able to catch up if he gets his despawns correct.
This is certainly going to be a much closer race after this stage.
And you see Fitz has to thread the needle through that ghost and wait for the second while Dots is taking the lead, getting that first despawn and deboosting through the second boo ring. This is still anyone's race.
Absolutely. This is now probably about a 5-second race between the two of them as they move into the final stages. It could come down, as you said, to that Bob Fort or possibly the sandbar clip.
Until the final hit happens on Bowser, I don't believe anything has happened. Because, I mean, really, all the levels they have. Dots grabbing the orb. And Fitz right behind with his orb. So they're going to be going to Valley of Bowser. We hopefully shouldn't see problems for the next 2 levels between these 2 bottom runners, but we have seen a lot of problems before, so I wouldn't be surprised.
This level seems to have been just causing people problems all kind of throughout the weirdest ways.
Absolutely, and you'll notice Dot's taking notice of it, taking that safe top route, which I highly recommend for this race, while Fitz is taking the bottom route. It's much more sketchy. You can get frame rolled and lose your cape. These Monty Moles do not play nice. They're going to be... Fitz is still just barely hanging on to Dots.
As we will see them both bring a turn block through the gold tape that will turn itself into a cape. They'll be able to grab that second cape for themselves for a bit of additional security.
So Louis currently going through the Monty Moles. Mike's still hanging right behind him. He's going to be going into Wendy's castle.
Be interesting to see what choices these runners make with regard to the sandbar.
I'm so excited to see Fitz and Dots do this. I don't want to say I know they're both going to attempt it, but you see them both lining up.
Here we go.
They're synced up. Let's see who gets it. Neither one of them. This race is still neck and neck.
They are virtually synced right now.
They're within frames of each other. Whereas Louis holds a strong lead currently against Mike. The bottom half of your screen you need to pay attention to. While they are going through an auto scroller, essentially at this point, we've seen a lot of deaths in this near that late part of Sandbar. An absurd amount of deaths.
Neither of them electing to go for that Sandbar clip. This should come down to the Vob Fort.
Now, see, that's what I'm excited for. These guys are perfectly tied up. They're almost in sync, and they're going into Valley of Bowser Fortress. And this level has taken the most capes, the most lives. It's ruined the most leads, and it's ruined the most runners.
Fitz missing the key there. Takes about a second, but that does not really matter at this. A death here should be able to take the race for either of them.
It's hard. He's banking on Dots to make a mistake, and that's hard to ask of Dots. Both of these runners are so consistent. I mean, both of them are literally scaring me so bad right now.
They go through also any, randomness with Reznor, the weird hitboxes. Anything could turn this Dots diving out of the Potaboo.
So much
oh
that
my
can
god!
Right now, Dots is scaring the bejesus out of me.
Oh my god, Dots!
Fitz keeping my heart rate up.
Get into Reznor.
Beautiful Reznor. Beautiful Reznor.
Oh
None of the standings changed. Fitz is still right behind Dots. They're going into the Bowser's fight. This will finish up this run. Dots needs a perfect Bowser fight to keep the lead.
They're about a second and a half apart, based on my random mental counting.
A lot of this can change based on how quickly you hit the Mecha Koopas in the Bowser fight.
Even some nerves here in the dark room as we see Dots and Fitz moving through it.
They have a couple of needles to thread here. Fitz going for that classic Fitz fly that we love to see.
And they're both in the fight. Here we go. Down to, who would have believed it, it's the Bowser fight.
So the strat you saw Fitz do through the dark room is very specially towards him. He currently has second in 11 exit glitchless, and he is famous for that dark room. I was glad he was able to show that off.
As we see Bowser's swinging, not quite in unison. Oh, a delayed hit from Dots.
That's right, we had an insta hit on Fitz, a delayed hit on Dots that's going to give Fitz about a 0.2 lead.
Both insta
Or
again.
a 0.6 lead, my apologies.
I don't think I have ever analyzed a Bowser fight this close.
So all Fitz is relying on now is for Dots to get one more delayed hit. You can either hit the Mecha Koopas right when Bowser's hitbox is available, or right after he throws the Mecha Koopa, and it's going to give you some time loss. Fitz is banking on the fact that Dots gets one more delayed hit. This is the closest Bowser fight I've seen in a very long time. They're both going for a ball skip here. They're going to collect that Mecha Koopa. Dot's going for the cape strat. Fitz going for the no cape strat. They need to hit Bowser on the right side of the screen. It will ensure he doesn't drop a second bowling ball and instead skips that animation and goes straight to two Mecha.
It's a slow hit again.
Fitz is tied up with Dots.
I do not know. I do not know.
This might be a retime. They're going into the third and final phase. They only need two more hits. They're both going for a bounce skip here. They need to hit Bowser the second his hitbox is available. It's going to allow Bowser to bounce only 5 times as opposed
to... They both got it.
They both got the bounce skip. This is coming down to the frames.
Dots slightly ahead, I think, on the stream.
Dot's got his hit in first on stream. This is going to have to go to a retime. Get your GGs out. That is the most incredible finality I have seen to a race in such a long time.
We have a 2-second advantage for Dots in the race room. A 33:37 versus a 33:39.
Now, if you look at their RTA time, they are 1 frame apart.
Oh my lord.
Going to come down to a retime. Either Fitz is going to take this round against Dots, or Dots is going to keep himself alive for the third race. This is insanely tense. Louis got his last hit. Get big GGs out for Louis. He's going to be moving on to round 3, taking that second star he needs from Mike. Down below, though, Fitz versus Dots. This is one of the
This is as close as it can get on the RTA timing, at least.
Now, what's incredible here, Dots got the last hit first. Fitz had Peach appear first. You'll notice his credits are slightly faster right now. This is a big reason we did a change in official SRL timing as of a month ago, where it's when Peach appears. Dots had a little bit of a lower hit on Bowser, and Bowser had to raise up before he released Peach. They are literally within frames of each other. A month or two ago, Dots would have been guaranteed to take this. Now, this is a retime.
Absolutely. We will get official words to you as we know ourselves. That was just absolutely insane. And Dots with the 2 slow hits on Bowser in the fight, allowing Louie to, or Fitz, I should say, to catch up.
This is a huge thing that you'll see, especially in things like 11 exit race, where those small percentages really matter. Those insta hits are a huge thing for a Bowser fight. You need to hit that Mecha Koopa right when Bowser's hitbox is available. If you waste just a frame or two, you could catch yourself in a situation where that Mecha Koopa needs to be thrown up above Bowser and come down and hit him. It happened twice to Dots. And this is, I mean, those runs speak for themselves.
Absolutely. Basically, as close as you're going to see in a race. Pretty much ever. We will see what gets decided. Also, Silver Star saying in the chat that the difference in credits possibly because Peach and Mario need to walk to each other after the last hit, so based on their different positions on the screen, could have had an impact as well. Let's see. I am not actually in the race room, so I do not know what is being possibly said.
Yeah, and even at this point, unless someone concedes, this needs a retime. It's hard to trust timers when it comes down to the frame as we see these 2 runners hit. And while you see the timers on screen being slightly different, it can come down to human error and or the fact the official timing recently changed to be more in line with the timing that Super Mario World runners are used to. There has been issues in the past where the official timing would be the last hit on Bowser, whereas the official leaderboard timing would be when Peach appears. Those 2 times can differ and waver to the point where someone can win a race SRL and lose a race RTA. And so we're glad to see these timings actually match up these days. It's going to make things a lot easier to get this done. But one thing we know for certain is that Mike, unfortunately, is going to be eliminated against Louie. This will be a round 2 match. And Louie will be moving on to face Retro Bob in a round 3 match.
That one's going to be exciting.
Yeah, this has been the race we've all really been waiting for, so that one will be really good. Louie really put himself out there this race. It cost him a lot in some points, and so it'll be interesting to see how he takes on round 3. Retro Bob is a super consistent player that we saw just through his qualifiers. He had runs he wasn't even really happy with in the qualifiers that would have blown some of these runners out of the water. So that one will be super exciting to check out.
Definitely one of the legends.
And if you guys want to check out more of these runners, find your favorite runner, follow them through the bracket, see who they're facing next. Use that command SMW, and that's going to go ahead and pull up all the information about the bracket, the schedule, access to the Discord, so you can follow your favorite runners through the Snow Star World Tournament and see how far they get.
Also, exclamation R now in the chat. You can check out the runners that participated in this race. Definitely very interesting to see what the work they put in.
Absolutely. Go follow these runners. And another great thing to plug, as always, if you get interested into this, you'll see almost every runner for this game use the practice card, which allows you to do so many things to practice the speedrun. You see it up on Fitz's screen right now. This was created by Dotsarecool. So I highly suggest, if you're interested in this run, go check out that practice card and see how much this community provides in terms of resources for one another. Mike's looking good for his ball skip right now. He's going to want to hit Bowser when he reaches the right side of the screen as he starts an animation to drop his second bowling ball. Good hit on Mike's part.
It appears that ooh, it's not hard. Should be able to finish this one up. There's the first hit.
All right, and that's going to put him into the third and final phase of this Bowser fight. Once again, we have two races going on, Mike versus Louie, Fitz versus Dots. Louie is going to take the victory over Mike. Mike, unfortunately, is going to be eliminated as he goes into this third and final phase. So he got his fifth hit. As he gets into his sixth and final hit, we all know, unfortunately, Mike will be going home. I want to see the biggest GGs in chat for him.
Absolutely. Commiserations to him. I'm sure we'll be hearing from him on the caster desk at some point.
Yep.
In this tournament.
Roy's Castle just did not treat him well. He's going to be ending with that 4101.27. He's got the decimals out against Louie.
Hey, those decimals proved useful in the bottom race, so maybe there's something to it.
Literally, quantum physics could not decide this race between Fitz and Dots. This is going to be so interesting to see who comes out on top here.
Fitz seems to be convinced we're going to a third race. See him practicing up. We will see what actually happens.
Yep, and the one thing we do know, though, Louie's going to be moving on to round 3 versus Retro Bob. He had to take on Mike the Pwnstar to get to that position. Mike, unfortunately, being eliminated from the single round tournament. We saw Mike take on Durwood for a round 1 tournament, taking a 2-0 lead to face Louie. He's always on Twitch. He loves playing Super Mario World. Definitely go give him a follow and watch him melt away his PB as he continues on with Super Mario World. We're going to be deciding what goes on between Fitz and Dots. Their latest run was absurd.
Let's see what actually happens.
Yep, and the one thing we do know, though, Louie's going to be moving on to round 3 versus Retro Bob. He had to take on Mike the Pwnstar to get to that position. Mike, unfortunately, being eliminated from the single round tournament.
Not sure if there is any official word as of yet. There's not a new race room, so they are still probably figuring this one out.
Yeah, this is a sticky situation to be in. This is a situation where Fitz could take 2 out of this best of 3 and move on with this victory, or a third race could be happening versus Dots and Fitz. Fitz is already practicing. He's already working under the assumption that a third race is going down. It's smart to see from him. Dots as well, working through those Monty moles.
Definitely looked like on stream that Dots had the first Peach appearance, but by such a little amount that definitely everything should be checked.
Right, absolutely. We have to make sure that the beginning was just as synced as well.
Do understand that we have a bit of a consultation going on between administrators and the players, so we will see what gets decided.
These are 2 super experienced players who are used to this kind of thing. It's not rare at all for Super Mario World to come down to the frames in a race. So they both are used to this. They know this happens all the time.
Yep.
There shouldn't be too much of a hiccup.
And we should have a decision, probably, I would guess, within a couple of minutes, and then we'll we'll go on from there. I can't say though, if this does go to a third race, it will absolutely be a hyped race.
Can you handle a third race? I don't know if I could. Like, this is the first one I came into between Fitz and Dots. I don't know if I could handle another one.
I don't know. I might. You might have to carry me. I might lose it here. If I disappear, you'll know why.
They kept it neck and neck like the entire time. Both of them were such consistent players. Whenever you saw one of them would have a hiccup in one area, the other would fly through and then have a hiccup later. The second player would come through. In
practically the next level, it was down to like RTS game style commentary during Bowser.
Absolutely.
In a game from 1990.
Fitz and Dots never came within more of 5 seconds than one another. They kept it close the entire time. To do a race like that where you're talking about 33.5 minutes and they stay within 5 seconds of each other the entire time, the consistency level is just unheard of.
Dots, we saw they're restarting his timer up to about 45 minutes before resetting it.
I mean, he's smart. Keep your timer going if you think it's going to affect your official timing, what we call a dot done. They are using another program off to the side to officially time their races. And so while their timers may say different things, that's not official. Literally, their runs are going to have to come down to some sort of retiming or agreement because those were so close.
Yep. Literally 1 frame on their individual timers.
Yeah, according to the timers, 1 frame, which is, at what point do you start accounting for human error or lack of sync or things like that? And this is actually pretty common in Super Mario World. We have so many top runners in this tournament. If you look through the leaderboards for No Star World and compare it to the bracket, if you use the command SMW, you'll notice that almost every top runner is in this tournament. And once you hit round 3, it's going to be nothing but go time for all these guys.
For sure. Just in the 3rd round, and we're already having extremely hype races, such as this. This race is for a place in the quarterfinals. So definitely want to make sure that the decision is fair and correct.
It really is. The winner of this is going to face the winner of Maiba versus Stiverson, which is an incredible race. Maiba was 2nd place in the leaderboards.
And in the
he was 2nd place in this leaderboard whenever the tournament started. He is currently 3rd place, Silver Star, taking that 2nd place 3 days ago. If you guys pay attention to this leaderboard, pay attention to this brackets, when these tournaments roll around for Super Mario World, the leaderboards get dumped on their head. So we're going to see all these guys going for essentially world record runs throughout this tournament.
Also, I can note that at least the stream has been changed just to have Fitz and Dots on it. Not sure if that means that we will be seeing a 3rd race, but that would seem to make sense to me.
I hope we do, even if they need to retime for a while and we can just watch these guys run again. They're so consistent to the point that they're incredible to just watch run. It's another good reason to go follow those runners. Use Command R, spend some time right now to go follow them. It looks like they are going to be going for another race.
Yep. Retiming has been evidently completed, and Dots won by around 1/4 of a second.
1/4 of 1 second at a 60 frames per second game like this. Dots won by just over a dozen frames, over 33 minutes.
Wow. Absolutely incredible. I guess we're ready for another one. Maybe.
I'm not sure if I'm ready to see these two go against each other. They're gonna give no leeway versus each other. Fitz had to literally rely on delayed hits in the Bowser fight to potentially take Dots last round. He didn't actually take it. And I just love to see Dots come out of the woodwork and get some runs in. I always love seeing him in a tournament. Once again, earlier you saw these runners use their practice cart. That's a creation by Dots and another great example of the lengths this community goes to provide resources for one another. So if you're on the fence or wanted to get into speedrunning, this is a game to really check out.
This is a wonderful game. The community is incredibly encouraging. If you want to learn pretty much any category of this game, there's streamers. Most of the top runners stream relatively regularly. You can ask questions. There's a comprehensive wiki for the game.
And Dots just had the coolest Yoshi's Island 2 exit I've ever seen. Smashing that shell as he hit the tape. So in this level, Yoshi's Island 3, they can get a 259 if they utilize these wooden platforms you see them run along that moves right with Mario. It's going to give them the little extra boost they need to get a 259 on that timer. Otherwise, they'll get a 259, but these two runners are super familiar with this level, and they're able to get that 259 with no issues. I want to see some shell jump attempts, though, and that's where we're getting to next.
Friendly reminder to smash the shell at the start if you're not going for the shell jump, although I expect we will see both of these runners do so.
Both of them attempted. They did hit the water, so they're going to finish with a 275, I'm sure, after they exit this putt. And so this is going to be race 3. This is a best of 3 race versus Dots and Fitz. Fitz took the lead in the first race. Dots narrowly avoiding elimination in the second race. Dots is really going to look for this victory in this. They didn't stay more than 5 seconds apart from one another in the previous race. If you're looking for consistency, you tuned in at the right time. Both of them going over that Podoboo, managing their cages wisely. Both of them getting a 281, though they took the cages differently. It's a good difference strat seeing Fitz take an early jump on the cage. We should be looking for an optimal 241 after they beat Iggy from both of these runners. If they get a 240, that means they went a little bit slow in either grabbing the Iggy door or spitting out one of their final fireballs. Dots is showing off some great auto-scroller swag. Alright, and while they had a little varying in strats, Fitz going for that slide, Dots going for that jump, they're both going to finish with a 241. They both had a phenomenal World 1. Things might change here going into Donut Plains 1, where both of these runners are going to grab a cape. Now, once they grab this cape needs to last them because they're on a budget. And with these flyover levels, little things like flight can make the difference. When you see both of these runners grab a cape, they're going to go into the air, and Mario's speed starts oscillating in a larger area. It goes from speeds 47 to 51, and it's going to continually oscillate until they catch their flight. Now, they can manipulate the speed by tapping right during their flight, but there's no guarantee they're going to get the fastest flight. There's a lot of flyover levels in this run, and these little flight levels, especially between super consistent runners like Fitz and Dots, can make the difference. A 362 would be optimal on this level. 361's about average, but we see both of them entering beautifully, managing their speed, going into Donut Secret.
Absolutely, and they get that. I believe this is the first swimming level. Good to see the SMW water mechanics.
This is a level even top players can have issues with, especially going into drive room like they are. They need to spin flight, grab this Koopa shell, and exit as quick as they can. You see Dots having a little bit of an issue kicking that shell up. There could always be issues in drive room.
Yeah, managing that spin flight.
I still really enjoy this level. Lots of people hate this level. It's really tight. It's really optimized. And Fitz showing it off beautifully. A 251 on his part. He could have been a little faster, but still great.
That's just a couple of seconds behind. In this, the third race between the two of them. This will be the deciding race for a spot in the quarterfinals of this Super Mario World Winter No Star World Tournament.
Absolutely. We got way more rounds for y'all, so y'all make sure to tune in. I see that SMW smartly used in chat. Click on those links to get access to the bracket, the schedule, talk to us in Discord. There's a lot of Mario yet to be played. These guys got a couple of flyover levels to get under the belt before they make it to Morton's Castle. We might see a standings change by then. Hopefully there should be no issues for the next couple of levels, though.
Seems unlikely once they get past this flight at the start of this level, and they do nail it. Looks a little bit scary. There's definitely a big window for it, but it can go awry. A couple of flyovers. First stage we could see something go wrong for them pretty much is Morton's Castle, the Morton Fly. A lot of components that if you mess up even something small, at some point you do have to wait potentially for a whole cycle. So definitely a chance to lose some time. Donut Plains 4, that is, definitely just another flyover. The first 3 or so worlds of this game have several flyovers in them. Kind of a nice warm-up for the category before the second half of the run. After Ludwig's Castle is definitely not for the faint of heart, so be sure to stick with us for that. This should be about a 33-34 minute run. If you're just joining us, the second race in this series was decided by around 12 frames. There had to be a retime to ensure that the correct winner was selected, and Dots did win by around a quarter of a second, that is. So these two pretty much as tight as it can get as we see them now entering Morton's Castle. With that flight, Fitz now entering the last room. We'll see him attempt Morton Fly. Dots right behind him. And Fitz fails the Morton Fly. As we see Dots now up with the spring, Fitz will lose an entire cycle. I think that's 12 seconds on Dots, so Fitz definitely not what he was hoping for, as he does fail that fly.
It'll give him a big time lead. A cycle of time on having. Like I said, this is where we see a big difference. Dots is going to take a big lead going into Vanilla Dome.
Especially between these this quality of runner, this amount of time difference is definitely significant. About a 12-second difference, I believe.
Yeah, Fitz is gonna have to wait a while before hopefully get some sort of speed on Dots. We didn't see so much of an issue from either runners in Vanilla Dome 1 or Vanilla Secret that's coming up. That has been a problem for a lot of runners. But if Fitz is relying on Dots to make a mistake, he is looking in the wrong place.
Absolutely. Still a lot of Mario to be played, even in just this run. Even in this level, can fail the fly. Not that we expect anything of the sort. Dots gets up. Fitz now spinning through. Grabs that shell and makes his way up to the top.
Yeah, now this level could have been an issue for either one of them. That level really utilizes a lot of the vertical height that you get on your flight.
Oh!
Dots has a backup cape right by him. It's not the biggest time loss, but it might be what Fitz needs. Dots still getting through that choke point first. Fitz is hot on his heels.
Yep. Dots lost about half of his lead there, I would say. Around 6 seconds.
Absolutely.
Without that cape being there, if that cape was not in the game, I feel like had a lot more reset potential in that level.
Fitz is out with a 277, while Dots is out there much slower with a 269. Still very nice. but it's going to give Fitz the lead he needs. They have a couple of flyover levels. There shouldn't be much of a standing change until maybe the Fortress, depending on their Reznor fight. But both of these runners have been super good with their reses so far.
Yep. Next major level would be Ludwig's Castle, once they get past the fort and a couple more auto-scrollers.
Absolutely. We saw some issues with Room 2. I believe Dots switched to Flower. Fitz sticks with Cape.
But until then, feel free to step away, grab some popcorn, your favorite beverage, and then come back and tune in for this. This is definitely going to be an extremely exciting second half of the race.
Absolutely. If you got no popcorn, it's a great time to go and follow these runners. You'll see Fitz and Dots links I posted in chat. They'll still be flying over these dolphins by the time you come back. Like, don't even worry about it. There shouldn't be any standing change. They will be heading into the fortress soon, though.
Saw a little bit of trouble with the fortress. I think Louis got hit after failing to do the despawn appropriately.
He did. Yeah, he did. Fortunately, there's always a Cape and Butterbridge 1 right next, but you are going to lose a little bit of time from that powering down.
This is a 3.5 second difference between the two runners, so as we found out last time, though, that definitely can be the difference.
It can be super tight, even a few amount of seconds. While it can seem big when to consistent runners like this, it comes down to one trick, one mistake. Fitz is staying right on Dots. So these guys are going to be going for a Thwomp despawn. At the end of this room, there's a pipe, and when they go into it, once they exit, they're going to spin their cape at a precise location. From what I hear, it's free, but we haven't seen one today. Dots and Fitz both missing the Thwomp despawn. They have to go over it, going into the Reznor fight. Dots needs a super clean Reznor if he wants to keep the lead.
That is the first fireball. Relatively clean. He will keep his lead. As they now move into Butterbridge 1. The most exciting level of the race.
I think it is one of the most exciting levels that man ever created, and I challenge anyone to prove me.
And we see Fitz going for the good old jump strat, and Dots flying over it. This is Butterbridge 1, everybody.
I mean, I'm about to fall off the edge of my seat. I could not be more excited. This is the best thing since sliced bread. You don't know if the platforms are going to go up or down. You don't know if the level's going to go to the right or more to the right.
Yeah, you could get a 1-up. You could get several thousand coins, points, anything. Score manipulation.
Whatever you want here.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good point. Yeah, if people do score manipulation, which is not the biggest thing, especially in a race format, this is a good point to get that on between the various Koopas you could spin and blocks you can hit, power-ups you can grab.
Yeah. I feel like if somebody was going to do it, though, it would be Dots.
I mean, that's not a bad assumption. We didn't see either of them grab a shell, which I'm going to be honest, I'm completely disappointed when you see two top runners like this not go for any swag in what is probably already the more exciting of the levels. Maybe they knew we couldn't handle it just adrenaline-wise.
Yeah, in the third race. You know, earlier maybe, but now we just...
Right, it's hard to keep people on the edge of their seat and their toes at the same time.
Yeah, the balance requirement it might be a little too high. So we see Fitz actually with a superior time off of that the pipe fly.
Yeah.
Beat Dots in the level.
He showed off the few amount of frames of swag we have in this level, finishing with a little faster time with that 54.
Hey, that could be the difference between winning the race.
This is going to be their second of 2 flyover levels before they make it to Ludwig's Castle. This is where we saw stuff start to differ last run. Hopefully we'll see a little bit of confusion this time as well, because otherwise these guys are just super consistent. It's hard to rely on them for a mistake.
Yeah. If you're hoping on your opponent to make a mistake, you're hoping on the wrong thing.
Absolutely.
Dot's actually pulling back that 1 game-second lead that he lost in the first auto-scroller, in the second auto.
Now, this is where things are going to get a little technical. You'll see Dots going in first. He's going to utilize a lot of cape tech here, ground pounding the enemies in front of him so he doesn't touch them, cape canceling through the ball and chains, not taking any damage. He switches to Flower. Dots is going to stick with cape in room 2, so you get to see a difference here. As Dots spin jumps under the Potoboos, while Fitz tries to fly underneath the Potoboos.
When he makes it.
It's amazing that they're at the same pace, showing off these two strats at the same time. Oh, Fitz managing those cages beautifully. He's going to gain maybe a little bit. He went a little weird. He's going to eat a little bit into Dots' lead through this castle, though. Just a little bit, though. But as you recall from last race, a little bit is all Fitz needs.
Absolutely. Any frame you can get anywhere.
Yeah, Dots needs to run really well if he wants to keep his lead, because Fitz will bite into any part of that apple you leave sitting out.
I would expect to see several more lead changes before the end of this race.
And you know, another thing, I'm going to link the leaderboard in chat right now. I've said it 1,000 times. I'll say it again. I don't think it's out of this world to say that we will see a world record before this tournament ends. So go check out that leaderboard. Get yourself situated with the top times. Go check out that bracket using SMW command. And follow these guys. We didn't see a wings attempts from Dots last time. We did see one from Fitz, I believe.
Dots has not gone for it in either of the races so far. I believe Fitz is 2 for 2. Fitz is actually 4 for 4 on clips / like major glitches, getting 2 first tries on the Force Illusion 2 clip and 2 for 2 on wings.
And speaking of wings, if you pay attention to Fitz, if he grabs a shell while it's moving, dupes to the left, he's going to grant himself Yoshi wings. He's going to finish this level quicker than he would have if he did it naturally like Dots did. Phenomenal Force of Illusion 1 on Fitz.
Absolutely. And he takes the lead by a very small amount.
Oh my, it is the small amount of times he needs. Like I said, Fitz will bite into your apple if you leave it on the table. Dots needs to rely on Fitz to make a mistake. And
here we go with the clips.
Fitz is in, first try. Dots in.
So is Dots.
Smooth. The smoothest clip I have seen in this race so far. They are neck and neck. This is going to come down to Roy's Castle and hoping for a mistake. Chances are you're not going to see a mistake from these runners.
Once again, within seconds of each other.
This is incredible. I knew this race was going to be good. I didn't realize how
it was going to be this good.
This is just like last race. They are staying right on top of each other. They're going through Forest of Illusion 3. Who cares about that level? Roy's Castle is where we're really going to see some action. So take this time to go follow these runners. Go check out their channels. Go give them a follow.
They absolutely do deserve it as they get a slight reprieve, even though this level looks very busy. Basically just a flyover.
Yeah, there are random obstacles, but for players like this is Sunday morning breakfast.
this is a break. They're taking a break.
Absolutely.
They are into the pipe. 264 and 262.
Both of them getting a 262 actually. So none of the standings are going to change. This is going to come down to Roy. We had clean Roys from both of them. This is a really technical level, especially for beginners. Both of them are going to stick to the ceiling as close as they can until a final point where they dive beneath the Potoboos, pulling up at the last moment. Fitz giving me a literal heart attack. I'm calling an ambulance right now because that fly was terrifying.
Oh my. but he does.
Fitz holding a commanding lead, getting a faster fly than Dots. He's going to eat until a little bit more time. Switching to Flower, doing 2 fireballs and a jump will get rid of Roy. This is the last time you should see the fire power up in this race. They are right on each other.
64 versus a 63. Fitz pulling out 1 extra game second, and those seconds do definitely add up in a race this close.
Between these two, absolutely.
Fitz is just on fire today.
When we say an in-game second, we do mean the timer up on top of the levels. They're not equivalent to a real-time second. They're 41 frames, as opposed to what a normal real-time second would be 60 frames. So a normal in-game second is about 2/3 of a real-life second. But that has no standing on which frame of that time they hit.
Absolutely. But it is the easiest way we have to measure relative success in an individual.
Absolutely, especially when you're getting in-game timers like they do.
Yeah, when it's right next to here we see the pipe fly. They maintain that P speed to obtain a faster flight speed than normally possible.
Yep, that's going to give them a flight speed of 64 as opposed to a natural limit of 51. Fitz always scares me with his flies. I know he knows what he's doing, but he terrifies me every time I see him with a cape.
This race is so close to the 3rd race, too. Oh my god, I don't know if I can take it anymore. So they go into the spooky ghost house. You have to fly.
The spookiest of spooky. The chocolate ghost house. We've seen a lot of chokes on this.
Yep.
There are obstacles in that ceiling that you don't see off screen. That's why they're flying so low to that fishing boo. They have to narrowly avoid obstacles above them while flying near an enemy below them. Cape canceling at the last moment, getting through the door. You're going to see Fitz cape canceling through these boos to bounce up to the door.
Oh, misses the door. So if you will.
Doors are the final boss of SMW. Dots did not. Little things like doors can be a decider of this race. It almost came down to insta-hits in the Bowser fight last race. So it's not out of the ordinary to say doors could decide this one.
At this point, anything, any time could be between winning this race and losing it.
There shouldn't be too much of an issue in this. There shouldn't be any. Hopefully there's no issues. These guys just need to fly to the end of the level.
Dots picked up another in-game second, though. Fitz with a slight inaccuracy, falling down to the pipe. 77 versus a 75.
All right. Actually, yeah. And that's
2 seconds picked up. That's a 1.5 seconds of real time.
Yeah, roughly on average, it's going to give Dots a little bit of more of a bite into that apple Fitz left behind. He got that 67 on the level. Well, Dots got that nice 69.
They fly pretty much in unison here.
This is actually a really spooky level the way they took it, not taking a shell with them, doing the Steven strat. They really had to rely on those chucks being friendly with them. Fortunately, they were.
Dots also a big believer in the slide all the way down. Noticed this during the qualifiers, and he is continuing that strat.
This is going to give Fitz the lead he needs. Dots did not maintain his speed through Room 2. It gives you about a 20% speed boost. Fitz was able to maintain it, and he got into Room 3 first. If he just stays in the air and doesn't miss a cape pump above these chucks, he should be good.
And he is. Picks up 3 in-game seconds.
Fitz is going to take the lead in this level as they finish Chocolate Secret, going into Wendy's Castle, my favorite castle for these two guys to show off some cape tech.
Absolutely. This is not the castle for the faint of heart.
No, if you don't have a cape, this is a crazy castle, as we saw during various Calco races. These guys are going to utilize cape tech like you haven't seen. They're going to cape cancel through these saws. You see him jumping straight into the saws, taking no damage, going under these crushers, taking no damage once again. If you're moving downwards with a parachute, you're not going to take damage. You're going to spin out of it, and these guys are going to abuse that mechanic. Fitz getting that cool fly to the end, like
and
I like to see.
the second room just so fast with this cave if they get the proper.
It is the silkiest, smoothest of rooms. If you have a cape, this room is the coolest thing to watch.
Fits straight through. Dots gets held up a little bit. We'll lose a little bit of time on that one.
Assuming they each get a 3-hit Windy, Fitz is going to come out of this a little more handsome than Dots.
Yep, there it is. A couple of hits ahead.
Fitz getting the 3 hits, Dots as well. Fitz is going to maintain his very slight lead against Dots. They're both going to be looking for some despawns going into Sunken Ghost Ship.
We saw Fitz have actually a little bit of trouble with those despawns in the previous race. That was with a Fire Flower in a cape, not 2 capes, however. So we will see him with both capes. They will switch over at the start of the Sunken Ghost Ship.
Yeah, now Fitz took damage in Room 2 of Sunken Ghost Ship last time. Wasn't able to get either despawns, and it allowed Dots to catch up. That ultimately led to Dots' victory. This is the exact same situation we found ourselves in last race. Fitz is he was practicing this over the time. Like, this is what it comes down to for Fitz right now.
Gets that second cape.
Fitz took early damage in Room 2 where he shouldn't have, and it allowed Dots to take the lead. At the end of the room that Fitz is in, that Dots is going into, there are 2 boo rings. There are potential despawns on both boo rings. You can get 1 or 2 despawns. Fitz was not able to get either of them last time. Dots getting the 1, taking a damage boost through the second.
As we see how they did. Fitz maneuvering his way through.
Fitz having a beautiful first despawn. He's not going to get a second, I'm sure. He's going to damage boost through the second, taking that backup cape he grabbed at the beginning of the level, going down. Dots also getting 1 despawn, taking a damage boost. Fitz is going to maintain his slight lead.
As we do see them cleaning up some lag a little bit. As you do defeat more enemies, it does reduce that lag potential.
Might as well sweep up, right?
Absolutely. As we
Fitz.
see Fitz.
Orb.
Figured I would let you go for it since you have a better orb voice, and since the streams aren't quite synced, you end up with 4 orbs.
I just said it so loud, assuming you were saying it with me. Are you telling me they only got 1 orb from both of us?
I did. Didn't want to be desynced. That'd be so awkward. Can you imagine if there were 4 orbs around? What would we do?
No, everybody around the world in chat better be shouting orb in their chair right now. We're synced in our hearts.
We see these 2 runners taking the same route. Actually, just kidding.
No, very different. Fitz is taking the bottom route while Dots is taking a safer top route. It's going to allow him to not mess with those Monty Moles as much at the cost of a little bit of time. So Fitz is going to pick up even more time on that.
They do carry those turn blocks through the gold tape, which will allow them to pick up a cape, turn it into capes.
You know what this run comes down to right now? You know what this race comes down to right now?
Right now, it's the sandbar mind game.
It comes down to the sandbar. We're going to see these runners go through this first room, going under the bats while avoiding the Koopas right beneath them. As they go into the second room, these yellow platforms that they're on, they have a chance to clip through them. It's going to save them a cycle.
Last race, we saw neither runner attempt it. We'll see what Fitz does here. He does not go for it. We'll see if Dots does to try to reclaim the lead. Would put him very close if he was able to achieve it. And he goes for it, and he gets it.
Oh, my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Picking up 12 seconds. In this room, he's about half of a cycle ahead.
This decides the race, assuming a fortress goes right. But once again, this could be anyone's race with the fortress coming up next.
That was an extraordinarily clutch sandbar from Dots, picking up the lead by about 6 seconds, I think. Possibly even a little bit more.
Hard to describe how much Dots needed this to happen. Dots is going to take that lead substantially. While it may be only a few seconds, when you talk about runners as consistent as these two, this is what Dots needs to take the lead.
And he's into the fort.
This fortress has taken the most lives, the most capes, the most damage. This is the scariest level in the entire run.
Oh, and Fitz has died.
And Fitz proves it.
I think that was just a slow flight speed.
He had a slow flight speed, and he didn't have those crushers spawn the way he wanted them. He's going to take a death there. Unfortunately, giving Dots a solidified lead through it.
Oh, Dots takes damage, and he will lose his cape as he moves into Reznor.
So he is small, defeating Reznor. The best he can do is being big going into Bowser. Assuming he survives Dark Room, he will not have another chance to pick up a cape before Bowser.
Should still be enough to see him through, but we are making no conclusions as of yet.
This is still anyone's race. We've seen worse happen in a Bowser fight.
Dots in the Dark Room now, small only.
And Dots is super comfortable going through this Dark Room. I already know he should have no issues going through this small. He might pick up this midway to stay big just in case. Good on him. You never know when incidental damage happens. It's going to give him that instant power up to go into the Bowser fight. Fitz, you can tell, is very upset with his run right now. Letting Mario bounce around for a second before he takes on Dark Room. Not getting the Fitz fly he's famous for. He really needs Dots to mess up this Bowser fight, and that is the wrong place to be looking, because Dots is very comfortable in this. So
as we've discussed, the Bowser fight, not the most challenging of the bosses in this game.
Yeah, especially when you talk about runners like this, the Bowser fight should be nothing for them. We have seen a lot of issues, but Dots might play this just good and safe. Even if he doesn't get insta hits, he should be able to take this. Fitz getting his cape kills in. He'll be going into phase 2 as Dots sets up for the ball skip. He's going to be doing a no cape ball skip coming up right now. Bowser, of course, throws 2 bowling balls during a second phase, one of which dropping now. If Dots goes to the right of the screen and throws up the Mecha Koopa at the right time, decent damage boost. Who cares about that? He gets another mushroom. It's going to make Bowser skip that second bowling ball, and he'll go straight to Mecha Koopas. Dots playing it low and slow, trying to secure that victory.
Absolutely. Another couple of seconds off, and this could have been a very interesting cape versus no cape with a lead going into Bowser. But that's one more phase.
If Fitz did not take that death and he ended up with cape here, he might have taken this race. This category comes down to the... It's not over till the last hit, and we've seen that time and time again.
Yep. As we see Dots throw up that last Koopa, and that will do it. He will take the race and move on into the quarterfinals. Commiserations to Fitz on an excellent set of runs today.
Get some big GGs out for Dots. He's going to be moving on. Fitz taking his last hit. Unfortunately, this is a single elimination tournament. Fitz will be eliminated. I want to see some massive GGs for Fitz. He kept that so close while keeping the lead for most of these races. These guys switched back and forth.
Absolutely. And to lose that second race by less than a quarter of a second, just so close.
It's got to be sore. He lost that second race by frames.
And then to take that death in the fort, really, really unfortunate.
Yep, that sandbar clip decided it for Dots. He is going to be moving on to those quarterfinals, and that's going to be exciting. He will be going up against the winner of Maiba versus Stiv, and that race will be definitely one to watch. If you see that one coming up, tune in for that for sure.
Absolutely. Our next scheduled race, I believe, is tomorrow morning at, I think, 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time between Sten and somebody else.
Oh, you're talking about the one tomorrow? That'll be Sunday, December 23rd. And that will actually be coming up at 5 a.m. Eastern, and that'll be 2 a.m. Pacific. We're getting in some other time zones because that will be Sten versus Milani, representing Australia and Japan respectively, going up against each other. And that race will be a great one to watch. So I hope you guys stay up late, wake up early, wherever you're at, and check it out.
Absolutely, should be a good one. An excellent set of races tonight. Louis and Dots moving on. Louis into the third round for his match against Retro Bob, and Dots moving on into the quarterfinals. Congratulations to them both, and commiserations once again to Fitz and mikethepwnstar.
Yeah, and a big GG to Mike once again, who went up against Louis in Limbo with Fitz and Dots. Unfortunately, he got eliminated versus Louis, who will be moving on to round 3 versus Retro Bob. This is one of the races that a lot of us have been waiting for, so make sure to watch out for that. We have a lot of races coming up for SMW, No Star World Winter Tournament, right here on twitch.tv/speedgaming. If you want to find out more, use that command SMW. That's going to give you all the access you need to various things like the bracket, the schedule, the Discord, so you can follow your favorite runners and see how far they get in this.
Absolutely. Ask any questions you may have in that Discord. Plenty of people that will help you out with those. Check out the bracket on the challenge page. Also type !bets if you would like to gamble on these races. If you are outside the US, you get a free €20 bet. And if we have 100 signups, an additional $200 will be added to the prize pool. We are now joined by Fitz.
Hey, Carl.
Hey,
thank you very much. What's up, Carrick?
Hey, how's it going? But those races were incredible.
Absolutely insane.
I'm completely drained.
I can't imagine. Tell me what was going through your mind.
I was listening to the hype commentary. My heart was absolutely racing. Need to get a heart monitor on the go for that. Counts as a full workout. But no, GG to Dots. Punched it out.
Yeah, Dots was able to get you by just a few frames. You were almost able to get it due to insta hits in the second race. Unfortunately, he got you by just a handful of frames.
Yeah, he really clutched that one out. I thought after the Sunken Ghost ship, which I totally spaced on, I thought I played really well. Didn't go for Sandbar because I thought could just about do it without Sandbar. And thought I'd played really well, and I just couldn't believe Dots was keeping ahead. He did really well.
Yeah, Dots did really good. That was, I mean, in that second race that I saw, you guys didn't span more than 5 seconds from one another.
Virtually the whole time, no?
And in the second race, you guys didn't span more than 2 seconds from one another until the very end.
Yeah, it was a great series. I think between the two of us across the 3 races, there wasn't really a bad race in there.
No, you definitely get us something to watch. And I love seeing that Fitz fly. I always love seeing Fitz fly in Dark Room.
Yeah, I gotta love it. I don't know if that pulled back a couple more frames in that second race or not, but obviously not enough. Dots had a great Dark Room as well, with the spin fly start and then jumping into the normal fly.
Yeah, he scared me for a second. I thought he was going to lose something in his last race against that Mecha Koopa in the little hallway, but...
Well, I was hoping for it.
I bet you were.
I'm not going to say, I hope my opponent does the perfect race every time. Good race, but when it comes down to it at the end, I was like, please fuck up. Please do up for me. But he didn't. Clutched it out on GG. Well done, Dots.
Yeah,
absolutely. Fucking round 4, the quarterfinals.
Yep.
Yeah, he's going to be going out against the winner of Sten versus Maiba, which is going to be a really intense race no matter who you are.
For sure.
So do we have any final words for you?
No, just thank you very much, guys behind the scenes. Carl and Kerrick, when you joined, that was you really made it hype. Retrospect, probably shouldn't have enjoyed the hype. Maybe I could have rewatched it afterwards, but I wanted to know what Dots was up to.
All right, that's great.
All right, peace.
Yep. Thanks, Fitz. GG.
Great final words from, unfortunately, our eliminated contestant, Fitz. You guys go follow him. I'm going to put the command R in there. It'll give you the links to all the runners here. Fitz is one of my favorite people in Super Mario World. Definitely go check him out. He's always a hoot. And also, if you're going to stick around, something definitely to check out will be coming up on Speed Gaming. It's the Final Fantasy Randomizer Alpha Showcase. And that's going to be coming up right here on the main channel here in about 20 minutes. Main channel being twitch.tv/speedgaming.
Absolutely. So do feel free to stick around and check that one out. Should be extremely exciting.
Yep, and if you guys want to tune in for the next race, that's still going to be at 5 a.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. Pacific. It's going to be Stin versus Milani. We're going to be checking out the other side of the globe during those races, and y'all should definitely check them out because they are two insane runners. If you thought these races were good, check those out as well.
Absolutely. Get up early, stay up late, do something, but make sure you're tuning into that one, I should say.
Yep, and that's going to do it for here. This is the Super Mario World No Star World Winter Tournament right here on twitch.tv/speedgaming2. I'm W. Carrick and Carl.
Yep, thank you for commentating along with me, coming in to join in the hype. That second race turned out to be the perfect time to join. So
yeah, these runners were made of hype. I didn't need to bring any.
Absolutely, we're exhausted in here. I can only imagine for Fitz and Dots having to actually play the game while being so hyped up. But yeah, that's going to do it for us. Feel free to check out that Final Fantasy Randomizer coming up in about 10 minutes on the main channel. And yeah, feel free to check out the rest of the races as well. Posted when they're scheduled. Thanks everybody for watching, and have a good night. Take care.